So we have Alexis Barrett, Heather Tigard, and Kristin Insall.
Anita, did you just want us to do our own introductions?
I,
I
okay.
can, no, we can do it. It's all good. Thank you. I just wanted to check since you had read Josh's. Um, Hello, everyone. My name is Kristin Insel. I am the District Vice Principal of Numeracy in Rocky Mountain School District number 6, as well as a Vice Principal at our secondary school in Invermere here. Our district runs from Kimberley to Golden, a distance of about 240 kilometers, sitting on lands of the traditional unceded territory of the Ktunaxa and the Secwepemc people. And that's about all I'm going to say. I'm going to pass it off right away to Heather and Alexis, who I've had the privilege of working with for the last couple of years since I moved out to BC. So I'm a transplant to British Columbia, having moved from Manitoba, specifically from Winnipeg, where my ancestral homeland, where the blood and bones of my ancestors have lain since time immemorial. And working with Heather and Alexis has been a privilege and an opportunity for me to find my voice as an Indigenous educator out in BC. So, and that's all I'm going to say, so they can take it away.
Okay, I'm gonna just do the share screen bit here. Should be. How does that look on that end? Is that good? You can see.
Yeah, just make that sidebar go away so it's bigger. Yep. There, that's better.
Oh, okay. So I'm Heather, and that is Alexis. We didn't do a PowerPoint. We did a Google Doc. Thought that would be a different format here. So today it has been a lovely day for us because we actually just finished the culmination of this project literally several hours ago. So it's been an epic, tiring but wonderful day. What you'll see here in the Google Doc is a project outline and kind of little mini snapshots of our graphic organizers. Alexis calls me the graphic organizer queen. Yes, I do like those. You need the evidence. So if we are good to go, we're just going to kind of jump into it. You can read the our intros and kind of our background as to how this project started. Do you want to say anything more, Alexis, on kind of the birth of this project?
Um, I believe it started because I was eavesdropping on a conversation you were having with Kristen talking about pen pals, and I said, "Well, I want to be your pen pal," and now we're here. So that's
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
started.
And I think I've seen several of you last year where there was a pen pal project that Kristen and
Mhm.
I did that kind of, for lack of a better words, maybe didn't have the best ending that we were hoping for, but we did try to go through a process with another class in Sook. And Alexis kind of said, "Hey, pen pals, what is that? Let's do it." And we did it in the Alexis and Kristen and Heather way. And so, kind of born out of this pen pal project, which I think Kristen and I have done this 2 years now. So, this is kind of the third run of the pen pal idea, is what you see here. And so, what we did to start this, so I'm based in Edgewater and Alexis is in Golden. Um, we started by just having the students write a pen pal letter. So we're going to link it to language arts and learn how to write a letter. And how amazing is it to actually get a letter in the mail these days? So let's do a pen pal letter, say hi. Nothing really in terms of numeracy or anything like that yet. Then we came to this beautiful text. What's the most beautiful thing you know about horses, which I'd used in the past, but we used it again here. I can't say enough about this book, but I'm guessing a lot of you have seen this. And this was kind of the seed for the project in the sense that we had the students go out and look around their school grounds. What's the most beautiful thing you see? Come back and read this. And we wanted them to, it's about seeing beauty in ordinary things. And so we wanted them to read this book and go back out again with a different thought. What actually is the most beautiful thing? Let's be intentional about that. And that was an amazing experience in itself, but it got better. Then we said, okay, let's go to the interview process where let's have the kids go make some connections in their communities. And we were really relationships, right? In all cultures is so important, critical. So go ask your community members, what's the most beautiful thing in your community? Do some writing, bring it back to us, share. And it was really neat to see the responses, as you can see, range from elements of the environment to acts of human generosity. And it kind of shifted that idea of, oh, beautiful doesn't mean an actual object necessarily. It can be an action, it can be a behavior. Then we came to pen pal letter number 2, and this is where we wanted to show off what we think is beautiful. Our interviewer, viewee person, what do they think is beautiful? A little sharing, and I put this screenshot on here because it said 2 reasons I am grateful for your letter are, again, the theme of gratitude. We wanted that to continue throughout the project. Then we went into the most beautiful thing in our community book, which was this cool cross collaboration of taking all of our information and putting it together as this laminated final project and product that is in our class or school class library. And there's competition to see who can take these off the shelves and read them. And they drew little pictures, of course, and rewrote them. And that was a beautiful piece. Again, we're not totally into the math quite yet. This is where we really jumped into it. As you can see, numeracy tasks. This is where we spend a good chunk of time having students learn what does it mean to look at something from an aerial perspective. We called it the bird's eye, and the ant perspective. Very challenging for a lot of the kids. So we had to practice that multiple times. Had lots of tools. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie, that came in a little clip from there to, really, what does that mean if you're an ant? What do you see? Zoom in. You don't see the whole mountain. You don't see everything. And then we took this idea and we said, okay, let's go out and take that most beautiful object that you have decided and chosen on, and let's now draw it from one of these perspectives. Then let's take that object and estimate the length, width, and height with this cool little metric conversion chart, which I'm still using almost every week in my classroom, with all these awesome real life references, like 1 ton, we're reading the one and only Ivan. So if the gorilla weighs less or 1 ton, that's 1 giraffe, or Stella the elephant weighs 4 of these, so you can't quite zoom into that, but we have access if you'd like that. Kristin has everything. But that was really, really cool. Kilometers, millimeters, grams, you name it. And we made it unique to our different locations, especially with kilometers. So, it's 10 laps around Alexis's school, and it's 10 laps around the Frank's rink at our school here. So this was really interesting. And some of them were like, oh, I actually, I have to measure this. And I don't know. Good conversation, really good conversation came out of that one. And then do you want to hit pen pal 3? Do you want me to keep going, Alexis?
Sure, I was just going to say some of those conversations also connected to time, like kilometers was time in a vehicle. So they knew how long a lot of them picked the Columbia River. So a lot of them knew how long it takes to get to Canal Flats, which is the beginning of the Columbia River. And then we talked about, have you ever been to Vancouver and how long does it take there? And then if it's double that to get to Oregon, how long does it take to get there? And so they could convert that distance in a vehicle to kilometers depending on how fast their parents drive, which was also an interesting conversation. So we did that. We went to our letter 3, and with the pages that we wrote on the most beautiful thing, they did a Venn diagram comparing their most beautiful object to their pen pal's most beautiful object. So what were the differences? What were the similarities? Which was really difficult for some of them, especially when they had a mountain versus a river, finding similarities and differences between those two things. But the things that they came up with were super valid and beyond what I would have thought that they would have come up with. And then we introduced the Richard Wagamese text, the Animal People Choose a Leader, which was spoken about in a previous session during this afternoon. Um, and this led us to conversations about leadership and paying attention to the world around us. Um, we talked about different qualities of leadership. There's a page in this book that they talk about how many laps they're going to go around the lake. And if you go around the lake and the different routes that the animals took, which was the connection between today's adventure with all of the students. Um, we had some really good conversations about this book and where we were going and how we were going to go about participating in our day to day. Heather, did you have different things you wanted to say about that book?
No, I just what was really cool is also with this book we had them make connections to themselves and say, what kind of leader are you like? They loved this. Who are you most like? And like Alexis said, the reflection that was so vulnerable and amazing was so incredible. Some of them even were able to say, I am not like, can I say who I'm not like and why? And it was very much of a safe discussion of, okay, maybe we're like Wolverine because this is one of the kids' words. I'm like Wolverine because sometimes I, get hung up on the small stuff and I really need to let it go. I was like, oh, great job. Like, just one example of many. And then what we took with this also was then we did another Venn and compared the 7 sacred teachings with the animals in this book. And again, so incredible, rich discussion, how they're similar, how they're different, how I'm like, I'm represented by humility and but maybe I'm not so much great on the courage front because of this. And and then also, for each of the mentor texts that we used here, we used that First Voices website. And so the language, and they were so excited to practice it. And then why doesn't cougar exist? Why can't we find cougar? And the questions, they tried every avenue, try to solve kind of like a mini inquiry. Well, maybe it's this. Why? Oh, I just can't say enough great things about this whole experience. But that's what I would add to the book, which brings us to the last part today was when we finally met our pen pal and we created this awesome little kind of sequence of questions where the first one was, let's compare all the animals at Lake Enid and in our Animal People book and the 7 sacred teachings. Let's make a list of them. Let's go back to you. Who are you most like out of all of those and explain. And then we got into the numeracy part of let's, what's perimeter? All talking, very safe. And the kids, it was like they were best friends. They knew each other for years already. And then the backside was while we're on our walk, let's look for things that have symmetry because we also did some symmetry lessons to supplement this and kind of lead us to go with that. And we stopped, because some of those estimations were really interesting. We stopped at about 1 kilometer and we're like, okay, so this is 1 kilometer. Does anyone want to reassess their perimeter estimation? This is 1 kilometer. Yep. Okay. And then, by the end of it, actually, I'd say 90% of them were actually in range, but we had 162 kilometers of a 2.5 kilometer walk. And these are some pictures. There's tons of resources that we use and we can share. They're all right there. But this was captured just hours ago. This little Indigenous girl who has severe to moderate learning disabilities and delays. And she just was doing this, just a little Indigenous gal leaning up against a tree at the end of the day, just on her own, taking it in. And then here's our group photo, all of us, the weather held strong. Yeah, like everyone was happy. There's where we are walking. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. Yeah, that's our project. And we're talking about, I don't know, next year, do we do, I don't know, there's potential. Do we do a different lake, different mentor texts? I would really recommend people try this pen pal idea. It's really
so
special
fun
in this day and age. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the kids, like, we played a 2 truths and a lies, and icebreaker, and the kids' buddies were remembering things from their letters and like calling their like knowing what the truths and the lies were. And it was quite amazing how they just were friends right away.
Yeah,
And that relationships that they built.
we had to say your buddy can't answer in the two truths and a lie, which
Yeah.
who would have anticipated that? Yeah, the chemistry between them, yeah, they're just sitting there eating their snacks and then their lunch and then playing and yeah.
So it was a wonderful presentation, Christine, Heather, and Christine. Sorry, Heather, Alexis, and Christine. And we have a question from Cynthia. What did students find as the most beautiful thing in their community?
Uh, Columbia River, the mountains, rocks down by the river, um, particular trees that they thought looked cool.
We had
Yeah,
the
all sorts of
wetlands
things.
because we can see the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that. But also similarly to you, mountains, particular trees, particular mountains.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be kind of cool if we did this now. They could look at it again. Do they have another most beautiful object now?
Totally.
Did they interview others about what their
Yeah,
beautiful?
mostly they're adults at home, because I think that's their comfort zone for them. And the adults had anything from mountains, trails, river, wetlands to um people helping each other in crisis. Like I think this specifically comes off the heels of the forest fires and everybody helping out and how the community just comes together to support each other in times of need. That was a lot of what the adults were saying in the most beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really also like the various perspectives, like perspective taking,
Mm-hmm.
interviewing people to get what their perspective was, but then also the perspective of the bird versus the ant. So thinking about how to read the local community mathematically,
Mm-hmm.
by taking those various perspectives. And I thought that was fascinating. So
And
It was great.
they really connected to that differential in perspective. Like, what does perspective mean in language arts concepts, but also mathematically, which was kind of a light bulb for
It
them as well.
was absolutely
Mhm.
that. And it was so great because we literally put it in every curricular subject.
Mm-hmm.
The kids, oh, it's science. Oh, we get to do pen pal project. Oh, it's art. Okay. Oh, it's math. Oh, it's language arts. Oh, it's social studies. Like we just put it. I didn't put it in French. That was my only.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We have one more question in the chat. Jenna is asking, she's saying, I love the estimations relating measurements to known items from their own area. Do you feel like students have left that activity with a better sense of actual measurements?
I think so. Like we had quite a few kids who stood at the edge of the lake today and were within 500 meters of the actual length in their original estimates. I would say at least 70% of the kids were within 1 kilometer or 500 meters of the reality of the perimeter of the lake, which was pretty cool.
And the little metric conversion chart, this thing I didn't realize, I underestimated the power of that. It sticks with them, right? Because it takes those real life, and that was a ChatGPT assistance, but that's what we use. Ivan weighs, 600 pineapples. Like it sticks with them. Laptops, grams. I used, did a robin stem project where it had to weigh a certain amount of grams. And they're like, oh, get out the chart. And remember, it weighs this, like it's really cool. That's to me, that's a life skill we just gave them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was really a uh, inspiring presentation what you have done, and all that. The idea is really very good because students are very like that, they like to go outside and appreciate the beauty of the nature, and then you are there to connect that to mathematics. So yeah, it's a great thing I have learned today, I think. And thank you all, Christine, Heather, Alexis, and Joss, for your thoughtful presentation. And we learned a lot, and we have seen that how you have bring that indigenous connections to mathematics, and it's a nice way to learn mathematics, and we can appreciate the cultures from the different backgrounds, and in that way students are also learning the math, and we can bring those students in the in the circle of mathematics. There are many students who are not liking mathematics, but in these are the some ways we can make them inside the connection of mathematics. They can feel that they can relate to the mathematics too. Thank you so much. Cynthia, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm so inspired by the work that you're doing and how Kristin is working as mentor mentee, and then how to hear how you're taking it up in your classroom, and then maybe also working with those in your districts as mentor mentee is just very exciting. So thank you very much for sharing that, Heather and Alexis and Kristin. I look forward to hearing more about the next iteration of it. And thank you to Josh for sharing his presentation about Big Woman, Wild Woman. You didn't share the where people could get the story, but the story is available, and it's published in a book. So maybe you can put that in the chat, Josh, so that people would be able to read the story if they would like. And thank you to Anita for facilitating this session as a guest. I know it's not an easy thing to
You
do,
are very
but
welcome.
you did a wonderful job. And thank you to everybody for joining the session and sharing your thoughts and ideas and supporting each other as everybody's kind of working together to figure out how can we bring Indigenous education, math education together in our classroom, and how are we doing this? What are the challenges we're working through, and how can we share this so that we can support each other? So I look forward to another year of trying things out, and then hearing next year how what you're exploring and what you're sharing, so that we can learn from each other again next year at the next Indigenous Math Symposium. Don't forget to fill out the feedback form. The link is in the chat. You have a chance then to win some Indigenous math education resources, which will be amazing. But you have to fill the form out in order to get the link, in order to possibly win the draw. So thank you, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you next year. Bye.